Hey guys, Matt here and welcome to Season 2, 2022. This week, thanks to SIMRIGS, we're at Sebring for week number 1. This is where it all began for me a couple of months ago, where we did our first video together, and I'm glad to be back for another season, helping you guys find some time and learn some tracks. Obviously, this time round, there's some differences. iRACING has had an overhaul last week, and especially the GT3 cars. Definitely some differences in the cars that you may not be used to. For me, braking has changed. There's some aero changes. They've made some roll bar changes, tyre changes as well. The tyre life seems to drop off quite substantially now. My opinion on the BMW that we use for our weekly track guide videos, really good now in the high speed stuff. It didn't used to turn so well or change direction really well compared to some of the mid-engine cars. So I've definitely been able to find some time in that high to medium speed areas. Not really feeling like I can get as much out of the car in the slow speed stuff now. I feel like I can't quite stop the car as well and still getting a little bit of understeer. So as I always say guys, jump into your car that you prefer to use throughout your attack on the GT3 Fixed series, and try and find and spot the characteristic differences in the car and get used to these changes. So let's not talk anymore, let's get on track and start learning Sebring in these new GT3 cars. Alright guys, so we're out on track, we're getting our sighting lap. Want to be getting a good run out of Sunset onto the front straight. Just start your lap. Moving across to the right hand side of the track for T1. Now we're going to be looking to where the concrete wall starts to move across to the right. There's a little kink, as you can see, right in front, and then just in front of the car where that kink starts is a black mark in the concrete. That's where you want to start braking. So down from 5th gear into 4th. Not turning in too early for turn 1, because you're going to end up off the track on the exit if you turn in too early. So turn in later. You can see there's an orange curb, an orange cone, which indicates the apex for turn 1. Want to be really gentle picking up that throttle. As you spot the exit of the corner, you can be hard on the throttle again, running out to the ripple strip on the right, but again, not wanting to turn in too early, running off on that grass and having a crash. So braking for turn 3, you want to be stopping just after the 3 cones, down into 2nd gear. Staying tight on 3, not letting the car run out, because you want to then flick it across using this curb. It is quite bouncy, but you then want to open up turn 5. So late apexing turn 5, so you can get a good run onto the straight. Well, I say straight, but it is quite a big bend, turn 6, long right-hander. Big braking zone into 7 for the hairpin. Want to start braking at the 4 cones, down all the way into 1st gear. Be careful as you're going through those gears, don't want to lock the rears. Spotting the exit, getting the car straightened as quick as possible, and then straight lining out of 7. No stress at all through 8 and 9, full flat. As we come into 10, we want to be braking just before the 3 cones, down into 2nd gear, trail braking all the way to the corner, all the way to the apex. Getting off the brake and then getting hard on the throttle, using the curbs, because you want to be full throttle all the way through 10, 11 and 12, from the exit of 10 through 11 and 12, braking just before the 2 cones for 13, turning in late for the corner, missing the curb. You really don't want to hit that curb on the inside of 13. It's going to bounce the car, you're going to end up off the track on the edge of 13. No worries at all in 14, really easy, flat through here. Want to be setting the car up though for 15. Really important to be over the left hand side of the road. So you're going to start braking at the 3 cones, down into 3rd gear. So the off tracks are quite reasonable through here. You want to have your car almost half over this curb. You're not going to be getting a 1x. Flicking it across. Not using too much on the left hand side as you can bottom the car out. using this available track over here, turning the car in for 16, and again, having the car on one side of that curb so you're able to get on the power as early as possible, almost straight lining the corner as much as you can. Running down the back straight, keeping to the left-hand side of the track if we're not defending. And then for turn 17, Sunset, awesome corner, really committed. Turning in at the 2 cones, I start braking just as I get to the blue mark right at the end. Third gear, trail braking all the way to the middle of the corner, getting the car turned, off the brake, and then full throttle all the way for the exit. Really committed, running it all the way out to the edge of the track. Alright guys, we've learned a little bit about the track, done our sighting lap, bolted on some fresh tyres, so let's go for a push lap and see what we can do. Wanting to get a good exit out of Sunset. Starting the lap on the right hand side of the track, looking for that black mark in the concrete. We spotted it. 4th gear, not turning in too early. Hard braking for turn 3, braking at the 3 cones. Not wanting to turn too early for 5 as well. Wanting to get a good run out of 5 for the long run through 6 down into 7. Hard braking at 7, braking at the 4 cones down into 1st. Straighten the car as quick as possible, flat on the throttle, screaming for traction. Easy through 8 and 9. Braking just before the 3 cones for 10. Trail braking all the way to the apex there, and then hard on the throttle. Oh, getting some wheel spin, getting some oversteer. Braking just before the 2 cones for 13. Missing that big curb on the right hand side, which is going to unsettle the car. Flat through 14, setting ourselves up on the left hand side of the road for 15, braking at the 3 cones. 3rd gear, using all that track. 16 again, running the car over that ripple strip, a little bit wide. Still up on our optimum, on our best lap. Coming into Sunset, turn 17, and looking at the sunset, it's pretty fitting. Turning in at the 2, braking at the wall. Trail braking all the way to the middle of the corner. And then getting on the throttle flat out of 17. And that's a fast lap of Sebring. It was a bit sloppy, guys, so I'm sorry, but we managed to better our best lap as well. So thanks for jumping on board this week, guys. Sorry for the bit of a sloppy lap. I was pushing pretty hard there. Fortunately, we were able to better our all-time best. I do think that comes down to the new updates in the GT3 cars. Definitely handles that change of direction, that medium to high speed stuff a lot nicer than it has in previous updates. But as I always recommend, practice in your favorite car, the car that you're normally going to use for these GT3 fixed and even for the VRS sprint races. The setup that we use today is just the sprint setup, but you got to practice with what brake bias is going to work for you. And again, the gear selection that I use in this is definitely going to be different to if you're in the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. Just runs differently, especially coming into turn 7. The hard braking, those mid-engine cars seem to lock the rears a lot easier, so definitely got to practice with that. Also, I think a really good point to touch on, maybe not so relevant in the GT3 Fix series, but for the VRS series, your pit entry and pit exit, really important. The pit exit pretty much blends straight out from the turn 1, the exit of turn 1, and you can have some massive accidents there if you're not paying attention. So really pay attention to your relative as you're exiting pit lane and as you're watching people exit if you're on a hot lap and still flying along. And also for your pit entry, it exits off from the apex of Sunset, so turn 17, and if you're not paying attention, someone may rear end you as you're slowing down into the pit lane. So if you can, put out a little, you put a hotkey or something to say, hey, I'm pitting, or something like that, or even just let the cars behind you know over voice chat, just for safety measures, so you can safely enter the pit lane, and keep an eye out for cars doing the same thing. But again, guys, enjoy your official racing this week. I look forward to seeing you guys next week.